Good morning. Welcome, graduates, parents, guardians, students, faculty, staff, trustees, advisors, and friends of Chapel Hill Chauncey Hall to our commencement exercises for the class of 2024. Thank you. Thank you for being here on this glorious, beautiful, wonderful morning that has been given to us. It is wonderful to have you all with us for our school's 196th commencement. Give it up to the class of 2024. I'd like to introduce some special guests today. First of all, our commencement speaker, Ms. Rainey Aronson-Roth. Yeah. 14 trustees and trustee emeriti of Chapel Hill Chauncey Hall, thank you. And to recognize and thank our class marshals from the class of 2025, David Eisenberg and Camila Lizarbe Olivares. At this time, it is my distinct honor to introduce my good friend, Rainey Aronson-Roth, who will be delivering the commencement address to the class of 2024 and all guests gathered here today. First and foremost, Rainey is the proud parent of 2 teenagers. One of them, Mira, is a member of the class of 2027. Her talented husband, Arun Roth, is the host of All Things Considered each weekday afternoon on GBH Radio. Rainey, of course, is the editor-in-chief and executive producer of Frontline, PBS's flagship investigative journalism documentary series produced by GBH here in Boston. As noted in her Frontline bio, she's a leading voice on the future of journalism and has cemented Frontline's reputation as a trustworthy source. Continuing, Rainey oversees Frontline's acclaimed reporting and directs the series' editorial vision, executive producing more than 20 in-depth documentaries each year on critical issues facing the country and the world. Under her leadership, Frontline has recently investigated the impact of Russia's war on Ukraine, the deep historical and regional context behind the Israel-Hamas war, threats to democracy here in the U.S. and abroad, and the world's response to a global coronavirus pandemic. In fact, Rainey, Arun, and Frontline producer-editor Michelle Misner recently joined us 6 weeks ago for an on-campus screening and panel discussion of 20 Days in Mariupol, their 2024 Oscar award-winning Best Documentary Feature Film. Frontline has won every major award in broadcast journalism under Rainey's leadership, including Peabody Awards, Emmy Awards, and in 2019, the first Alfred I. DuPont Columbia Gold Baton Award in the last decade. Particularly impressive, Rainey has led an ongoing charge for transparency in journalism, including through the Frontline Transparency Project, an effort to open up the source material behind Frontline's reporting. To this end, she served as the sole public media representative on the Knight Commission on Trust, Media, and Democracy. Moreover, last year, Rainey and I spoke directly about strategies for increasing Frontline's digital footprint. In particular, how to increase free access of Frontline's voluminous archives and current documentaries to educators and students around the world. Frontline has become a trailblazer in digital content accessibility, and in my humble opinion, models a strategic and ethical approach that all media outlets should emulate. A proud graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Rainey earned her master's from Columbia Journalism School. After professional stops at ABC News and the Wall Street Journal, she joined Frontline in 2007 as a senior producer. She was named deputy executive producer in 2012 and became executive producer in 2015. In 2021, Rainey Aronson-Roth was invited into the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Please join me in welcoming our honored commencement speaker, Rainey Aronson-Roth.
What a beautiful day, and what a sight to see you all in front of me. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here today. And as Lance said, we are friends, but here today, seeing him, Dr. Conrad, leading this school is really inspiring. Congratulations, class of 2024. How does it feel? Well, you're also the class of 2020. And for that and for your resiliency, congratulations. And now I need to say, let's all say congratulations to these people because they missed their last graduation. I have had the joy of talking with many of you. You shared your hopes and dreams about the future after you leave this remarkable school. You told me that you hope to be healthcare providers, criminologists, robotic engineers, environmentalists, teachers, lawyers, and more. As you spoke and shared your dreams, it struck me that each and every one of you shared careers that hope for the good of the world. And then it struck me later that every one of you is needed in the world. So thank you in advance for your efforts. We need you. Again, let's applaud the class of 2024. When I look at you all, and I think of my own life starting out, I can tell you I never thought I would be standing here. I grew up in a very small town, went to the local public schools there, and there were only 21 people in my graduating class, and only 4 of them went to college. My town was a small town, didn't even have a stoplight. But I found myself on the debate team there with an incredible mentor, and her name was Marilyn Childs. She challenged me to think from all sides of a story, and that's really why I'm here today. She challenged me to think about my own assumptions and biases. And I always say I'm a journalist because of that foundational time with her as my coach. And you know, a day rarely goes by when I don't think about her and all she did to encourage my curiosity and my sense of fairness, that all voices should be heard, not just the loudest. I wonder what she would think every single day when I'm faced with challenges, as you can imagine in my job and in the media today. How would she have turned the issue over to think harder from the other side or even another side? How would she make sure that the entire issue was examined and discovered from as many points of view as possible? And so today, as you hear my story, I hope you're thinking about that coach or teacher that has touched you in your life here at CHCH. Those people sitting here today, they're right with you, looking at you with pride. Those people can be touch points for you as you go through life, as mine was for me. You can think about them as you challenge yourself to think harder, to be better, to do more work in the world, and they'll always be there for you, even if they're not with you. I just want to say thank you to the teachers, especially, and the administration. Thank you for mentoring these incredible students today. To the issue of why I could never have imagined myself standing here, I also grew up without a television. I know that's surprising. I'm a television producer. But it is pretty incredible what happened to me as I left this rural town and went into the world. And I will tell you that I would never have dreamed to think about the work that I did, 20 days in Mariupol with my colleagues at Frontline, would be seen around the world. And so my message to you is that sometimes dreams happen as you propel forward in life. And my story is a story, as you'll see, as it is for most of us, that is a story within a story, and there's so many ways to tell it. My journalism career actually started far away in Taiwan as a reporter after college. I went to Taiwan to teach English, so I didn't go there to be a journalist. And it was such a dramatic time in Taiwan that I was the kind of person who wanted to be in the thick of it. So I applied for a job to be a writer. That meant, in those days, not to age myself, that you sent a hard copy of a letter like this, right, in the mail, and you had to wait anxiously to see if you got a response. And usually in those days, you did get a response, and usually it was a rejection. That time it was a rejection, but I will tell you that that letter came to me, and it was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life because the editor had taken the time with a red pen, it was red, and he literally went through my letter and showed me all my grammatical errors. And he said, "Sorry, you don't get the job, kid." He did say at the very bottom of that letter, so pay attention to every word that somebody tells you as they're rejecting you, that if you can get it together, write me again. So I did. That time, I really paid attention to my grammar, okay? I didn't go to this school. I know you all have better grammar than I do. Oh, and you have Grammarly, so forget it. At the time, there was no Grammarly, and the teachers are like, right. It was really a different time. But I sent a letter back, and this time I got the job. What that meant was, as a 22-year-old in Taiwan, I was able to see people vote for the very first time. Can you imagine a country voting for the first time? And I also noticed that they voted in, as I was reporting, a party that was not aligned with China for the very first time. And I reported on their stories, but I also took time to report on the people who disagreed, who wanted the status quo to remain. And I wanted to understand their stories too. I was curious about why they didn't want change, why they were comfortable, and I challenged them. And it was in those moments, it was such a privilege to write about their experiences and their thoughts. I thought, okay, this is a pretty great career for me, and I applied to graduate school. And that's where accident after accident happens and why I'm standing here today. So if I have one message to you, pay attention to the accidents in your life and things that happen along the way that you don't expect. So I had moved to New York from Taiwan, was going to Columbia Journalism School, as Lance mentioned, to get my master's in writing, and I needed to work. So I got a job as a translator because I had just come from Taiwan. I spoke some Mandarin. By the way, I was not very good at it, which is part of my story. But they hired me, and I was working overnight on this shift while I was a graduate student, and I don't recommend that either, but that's what I had to do. It was in the edit room late at night that a spark went off. You know, I was sitting there looking at documentary films with this assistant editor who was incredibly generous with his time and his knowledge, and I realized that was the form, the documentary film that I wanted to pursue. And I grilled him all night long, and we got nothing done. But in the morning, I would also be there when the producers came in, and it was really one of those moments where you realize the producers are saying to you, you haven't really done your job, but why are you still here? And I would say, well, I really just love what I'm seeing in the edit room. And then one morning the producer came in and he looked kind of serious. So I thought, well, maybe he's letting me go, and that happens. And then he said, Ashley, would you be a production assistant for us? You're really not a great translator. And I never looked back. You know, I hope for you that you have a moment in your lives where you realize you're on a path, but then something resonates so deeply that you can't look back. When you feel authentically curious like I did, that can be a clue. It might not happen right away. I was 24 when that happened, but you can see I had an adventure before then. I went to college. I really was on a path, I thought, but I didn't really realize what it was that I wanted to do until late at night in that edit room. And so what I do now is the marrying of the early part of my career, that journalistic part of me, and documentary film, and it's a real privilege. So when I was a filmmaker myself before I took over Frontline, I spent years in our country, and I want to just take a moment. I spent years across the country making films across our partisan divides. So really looking at the issues that divide us and thinking critically about how we could really respect each other as we have differences. And that was really the body of my work before I took over Frontline. And I was really thinking deeply in those moments about my own curiosity. And I think that's what I hope all of you can do going into the world where the media is so heated, social media is so hot, to just take a moment and consider yourself in that, but also other people's points of view. And the other thing that I really try to do now is look for meaning in my work. I've thought a lot about happiness versus meaning, and where I've landed is It's very hard to be completely happy right now with the world the way it is, right? But you can find meaning in the work that you do, and that's what I've done. I also look for hope in whatever places I can find. So with accidents like I did in the edit room and curiosity, hope has also been a cornerstone for me and my work, and I wish that to be the case for all of you in whatever you decide to do. But of course, right now, hope is very hard to hold on to, but I'll give you an example. Consider the film 20 Days in Mariupol. I know the class of 2024, many of you have watched that. That's a hard film, right? Yeah. But there's a moment in that film, there's a moment I hang on to almost like desperately just to keep my own hope intact. And it's a moment where the Ukrainian police officer says to the journalist, "Your reporting spread. You did a big thing. Otherwise, no one in the world would know what happened." Do you remember that moment? He's such a memorable guy, and he's still alive to this day fighting for his cause. So those words that he spoke in the middle of a war zone that continues to this day, of course, those words give me hope because it was a stark reminder to me as a journalist that journalism matters, right? For me, that's what matters. And that in the darkness right now, if we have a record of what's going on, at least that is something that people know the truth of what's happening. And so that epiphany that I had watching that film, working on that film, that's what keeps me going every day. And I think the key for me was being aware in those moments of what keeps me whole, what keeps me hopeful. And I hope you can do the same, because every field that you told me you want to go in, even those of you who are undecided, will have its challenges. And so look for the hope in what you do, because that's what keeps you going. So going back to the accident of me becoming a filmmaker, I need to share with you, because parents are in the room, that my parents weren't happy about that decision. You know, my advisor at Columbia wasn't happy with that decision, and they all felt that I really should have stayed as a writer because, by the way, back then, the newspaper industry was alive and well, so there were jobs. But I really felt, and I know you all can relate, that their concerns were almost like noise to me. It was just noise going by because I felt so strongly that this career choice was the right one for me. It was so unique and so fulfilling that I knew I would make it work, even if it meant working late nights and weekends, which is what I had to do in the beginning to make it work. And I think when I look back, I know that I could have had a career in another field. I know I would have done well, but I think the career path that I chose, this unique one, was meaningful to me. And I hope for all of you that you keep your own lens on what you're doing, that you find meaning in your pursuits, but that your path is only your path, and that your parents will respect your decisions and support you. I know they will, because you're sitting here. So, as I spoke with you all, that was only a week ago, if you can believe that, I asked you who your role models were, because I knew I was going to share my story about my debate teacher, Marilyn Childs. And I had no idea what you would say. I actually thought you might say something like a basketball star, or maybe, I don't know, a president that you admired, perhaps not now, but in the future or the past. But I thought you would say someone famous. But to a person, you talked about your parents. So now I want to shift to your parents for a moment. Every single kid, well, now you're young adults, told me that it was their parents who inspired them. And they had very specific reasons. I was so touched by this. They said that you worked hard to make it possible for them to come to this school. They were aware that it was hard work that meant they could be sitting here. They liked that you did good in the world and that you had your own struggles that you had to overcome. And they liked that you supported them and their unique needs. Many of the students even told me, and I would have never said this at the time, that they wanted to follow you in their footsteps as they go forward in life in their own careers. That's how deeply you had inspired them. So I want to take a moment and thank the parents of the class of 2024. You have done well. There was one student, and I want to bring it back to the students, who told us that, yeah, she was really inspired by her parents, but she was really inspired by herself, and that she really felt that she was her own role model. And so I leave you with that. If you can have a moment with yourself right now to be like, all right, I did this, and I can do this, I think you'll do well in the world. That inspired me so deeply that, yes, her parents, but herself as well was a role model. And I have to say, it took me a few decades to even consider that as a notion. And I think a lot of us can relate. To be a young adult and say that you yourself could be a role model is probably the most powerful moment that you could have with yourself in this moment. And so with that, I would like to say congratulations to the class of 2024. Congratulations to the administration and the teachers and the incredible board. And thank you to Dr. Conrad for creating such an incredible environment for these remarkable students.
On behalf of the entire Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall community, I'd like to extend my appreciation to Rainey for joining us and sharing her keen wisdom and insights with the class of 2024, as well as all of those gathered here today and remotely viewing from around the world. Please accept this gift as a token of our gratitude. Virginia Donnelly is a creative being. In every discipline and in every assignment, Virginia taps into her creativity to approach solving problems, produce original content, and bring people together in an imaginative and inclusive manner. She is adept at constructing beautiful words for pleasure and escape, but also finding unique ways to compel people to understand efforts in advocacy and equity. Virginia is smart, passionate, thoughtful, and kind. She will fight for what she believes in, and will also listen with purpose of understanding that which she does not know. Please welcome the prolific, visionary, and stalwart champion, your salutatorian, Virginia Donnelly.
Thank you, Dr. Conrad, and welcome, trustees, faculty, staff, family, friends, and the incredible and resilient class of 2024. As you are all gathered here today, some of you may be wondering, how the heck did I make it here? Well, that has a lot to do with resilience. When the class of 2024 first arrived here at Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall, we faced a daunting challenge, or rather, we have faced it, as our only in-person social interactions were muffled behind masks and plastic dividers due to COVID's lingering presence. Mundane actions, such as meeting our new classmates and teachers, had become as foreign to us as the soil of Mars. Yet, our class refused to let the months of isolation stop us from forming a community where we could all socialize. Awkward silences were quickly replaced by organized games of kickball, where we showed our skills for adaptation as we used our backpacks for bases. Soon, we were all playing manhunt across campus during clubs block and getting yelled at by teachers for engaging in contact sports like football. None of us knew each other very well yet, but 5 months of isolation is an eternity to teenagers, so we threw ourselves into any opportunity for human connection. We quickly moved past the fear and isolation that the pandemic created and bravely started a new chapter together. Resilience gives us the strength to bounce back from challenges in life, and we have all faced hardships at some point. But those who developed resilience can tap into their strengths and support systems. That gives us the best chance to overcome our challenges and work through these problems. Resilience also helps us with many things, the first being stress. As many of you know, for people applying to colleges, you need a letter of recommendation. One instance of stress is when a student had three teachers she chose for her college recommendations letters, only to discover that all three would not be returning back next fall. Congratulations to all three on their new adventures, but next time you might want to announce your resignation sooner so someone else does not have to deal with that stress. Resilience can also be adapting to new situations, like having 8th graders on campus and them taking over the commons. Although, to be fair, I hear they were major contributors to the girls' soccer team. Adaptation can also be learning to communicate in different ways, such as all of us learning to show affection without physical contact through thoughtful words and air hugs. Also, dealing with uncertainty, like the college process. You all put yourselves out there, and then you have to wait and sit for a period of time and with uncertainty and get comfortable with that being. You have to learn to control the things you can and know that you cannot control the outcome. And ultimately, resilience helps us succeed. An example of resilience within myself would be how I had to fight tooth and nail to make it onto the USA Theater on Ice skating team in my junior year. If not for all the resounding resilience I experienced here at Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall, I would have never had the confidence and courage to push myself so much. Without my experience here with the CHH community doing all it could to stay together and fight for each other, I may not have been able to stand on the ice and represent the United States, let alone win 2 international gold medals and break a world record in theater on ice. Of course, resilience does not have to be so grand. It can be small, personal acts, like helping each other with homework assignments, leading club activities, or creating a place for people to grieve lost loved ones. Just because we may have struggled, and just because we may have failed, this class never allowed the pressures and pains surrounding us to crush us. Instead, we came together, refusing to fight alone, as within any team sport and activity, no one can win on their own. There will always be people supporting you and working hard alongside you, whether that be on the field or in the classroom. Now, as we prepare to leave the school and embark on our next journey, remember your resilience. Remember how hard we fought to become a community, the challenges we faced, and the joys we experienced when our efforts were out in the end. After all, if not for this community, we wouldn't have had a senior splash, senior sunrise, prank Dr. Conrad at 6 a.m., or enjoyed a senior skip day at the beach. I hope that no matter where we go, we will all carry this love of community and the lessons of the resilience it took to build it. It is because of this resilience that I feel so confident that you, the members of this class of 2024, will overcome any and all challenges that you encounter. Thank you.
Nicholas Dukowicz, combination of emotional maturity, enthusiastic curiosity, intellectual aptitude, and community-centered motivation makes him an ideal member of any community. But he has been especially impactful here at CHCH. One of his best qualities is his eagerness to learn and his willingness to try new things and seek advice and support for his efforts. Even if you're the one teaching Nick, you're going to learn something new in the process, and you're going to have fun doing it. Nick's maturity and sensitivity to his peers is absolutely remarkable. He is a brilliant student and is incredibly generous with the knowledge and enthusiasm for learning. He loves helping others to find their passion and is a natural, inclusive leader. Please welcome the affable and benevolent, insightful, inquisitive, and intelligent Nicholas Dukowicz.
Everybody's short. Thank you, Dr. Conrad, and welcome trustees, faculty, staff, families, and most importantly, the class of 2024. It's been a pleasure listening to the incredible speeches shared over the past 2 days, and I feel tremendous pride and honor to be part of such a special occasion. My position here would never have been possible without the help of so many special people, a unique and amazing group of teachers, mentors, administrators, and friends. So many of you guys have gone above and beyond, and I genuinely cannot thank you enough. Speaking of those who go above and beyond, I need to say a thank you to Mr. McPhail. I honestly cannot imagine my journey at Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall without you. From talking to me in the dining hall, we've grown together. In fact, now many of my peers are calling me a more attractive and younger version of you. It's an incredibly low bar, but I will absolutely take the compliment. To my girlfriend Bella, I truly don't know how you deal with me, but I can say for sure you've made me a better person just by being you. To my sibling Anna, it's a privilege to be your brother, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. To both sets of my grandparents, I'm so thankful that you could be here with me today, and I would not be the man I am without both of you. To the rest of my family, the Dukovich clan runs deep. And although we absolutely do not call ourselves that, it sounded really great to include in my graduation speech. Nonetheless, I'm thankful for all of you, and I'm upset that you can't be here with me today. Finally, to my incredible parents, Lisa and Mark. There are no words to describe how much I love both of you. In actions and words, you've shown me what it means to live authentically through unwavering care and compassion. I love you both. Today is not just about my personal thanks and appreciation, however. Today is about our collective achievements in the expansive universe of people who helped us get here. Today is about us. Us as a class, a community, and an unforgettable cohort who have been through thick and thin. In my case, literally thick and thin. We did indeed start from the very bottom, and now it looks like the whole team's here. Think about how far we've come, individually and as a class. Looking back to freshman year, it seems like just yesterday that we were playing Manhunt in the woods behind Atwood. And while those games were fun, I don't miss being out of breath after 2 seconds of running. While my fondest memory might be of the old bathtub we found, I felt in order to capture the true journey that we all went on, I needed to look at the best memories that we all shared collectively. I could talk about the 4 league championships, the 4 NEPSAC tournament appearances, including 1 semifinals appearance, the 2 McCoy Cup bids, our 18 all-league players, the thousands of dollars and several full-ride scholarships awarded by colleges class of the 2024, or just even surviving COVID, but I felt like none of that was enough. I wanted everybody who was a part of our journey to have a say in what I talked about, so I went out and asked them. The responses were varied. Some gave me a few words, some spoke for minutes, and some just never replied to my emails. Thank you, Mr. Mulqueen. I appreciate it. While on campus, most memories revolved around outside, not being in the classroom. From playing spike ball or can jam outside of Harrington, to the slip and slide kickball game and capture the flag. As a grade, we pioneered so many senior-focused activities. Senior Splash became incredibly popular and even reached a point where the faculty was in on it. Mr. Bubar even threatened to hold our AP Lit class past 3 a.m. to force a mass elimination. Our class also had the unique position of welcoming many new faculty members to CHCH as we rose to the rank of seniors. So, in a sense, we were responsible for their orientation and assimilation into the CHCH community. They have all said we'll be in their memories forever. Weirdly, they didn't mention if that was for good or bad reasons, but the fact still stands. We are certainly memorable. The class of 2024 has had an incredible impact on our athletic legacy at Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall. While I've already shared our fantastic accomplishments, I want to share what some of our coaches feel. 2 of our coaches share the same sentiment that their favorite memory of the class was watching our evolution from scared 9th graders during COVID into leaders and confident young adults, and their pride and honor into getting to have a role in that development. The mentoring that our amazing faculty had for our class was not just limited to being on campus. Going to major cities like San Juan, Chicago, Montreal, Quebec, and Disney, yes, that counts as a major city, just ask Miss T, and many other places are all core memories that portions of our class share. These experiences pushed all of us to come together. While sharing a bed in a motel outside of Acadia National Park was not exactly the best, the 4 a.m. sunrise is a memory that I will never forget. My personal core memory from whitewater rafting was Salam ruthlessly pushing me out of the raft. For many, their memories were different, but they were all shared with our class. For one adult, it was their first grade-wide outing, and only our class could have made Miss Fink break her years-long streak of avoiding students outside of her required college counseling work. Not only did she fearlessly lead her raft through the waves, but as a result of the incredible bonding experience, we convinced her to champion an even more extravagant feat. I am proud to say that the class of 2024 pulled off the most elaborate and impressive senior pranks that CHCH has ever seen. Yes, that was pranks plural. Pranks plural. If you know, you know. And that the class of 2024 is named, and I'm just going to say it, we are the #1 most spirited class that CHCH has ever seen. While some of you may think that fake sleeping in Dr. Conrad's driveway is not that spectacular, remember that it required 53 teenagers to wake up at 4 a.m., which all of you adults know is a major accomplishment by itself. The beach trip that followed was also a perfect final experience for our class. It encapsulated all that we had done to earn the skip day while simultaneously creating a lasting memory for everybody in the class. And now, as we stand on the edge of our next great adventure, let's remember that while we've made some pretty epic memories here, and weirdly many of them connect along the theme of water, from finding a bathtub to our legendary senior splash, and the skip day at the beach, we're just getting started. I think these past few years as a prologue to an even crazier story. We've laughed, we've cried, we've somehow managed to maneuver past the all-knowing eyes of Miss Walsh. But let's be honest, the best part of any game or trip was the people we shared it with. So, as we head into the big wild world, let's keep making memories. Though I ask that we start later than 4 a.m., I still do need to catch up on sleep. But keep creating moments that make us all smile and laugh. Here's to shared adventures, unexpected friendships, and never-ending stories. For the class of 2024, may our future be as bright as the sunrise hikes we braved and as memorable as the championships we won. Keep creating, keep laughing, keep sharing, because the best is yet to come. Thank you, and congratulations to all.
Join me again in thanking and congratulating our valedictorian, Nick Dukowicz, and salutatorian, Virginia Donnelly. Mr. Josh Bubar, Assistant Head of School, will join me momentarily in presenting the diplomas to the members of the class of 2024. I would also like to invite the chair of the Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall Alumni Council, trustee and member of the class of 2010, Mr. Sean Mulvihill, to join us on the dais to welcome our graduates into the CHCH Alumni Society as they exit the stage. As we get settled into our places on the dais in a moment, I wish to pause and ask you to join me in recognizing the recipient of this year's Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall Society Prize. This prize was awarded yesterday during our baccalaureate ceremony, and it's given to a faculty or staff member in grateful recognition of devoted service and extraordinary dedication to the students and mission of the school. Please join me in once again recognizing Karen Sokolov. At this time, we turn our attention to the senior class. And actually, maybe the last time I refer to you as the senior class. To note, as members of the class of 2024 come forward to accept their diplomas, you will see that 22 seniors are displaying gold tasseled cords to recognize their membership in the National Honor Society. We congratulate each on that recognition. We now invite our graduating seniors, to come forward for recognition as their names are announced. Mr. Bubar?
Agamemnon Alexopoulos. Maxwell Amster. Lois Nehemiah Asamona Mono. Mary Grace Bonona. Caroline Mary Barnes. Simon Blake. William Bridwell Halton. Alexander Jason Brody. Mia Bella Burnside. James Carley. Margaret Lynn Carlsman. Shepard Cohen. Connor Degnan. Devin Sloan DiNapoli. Virginia Collins Donnelly. Josiah Driscoll. Nicholas Haskell Dukovich. Gabriel Hart Friedman. Caroline Gallagher. Ryan Golden. Lachlan Hall. Kayla Gabrielle Hammer. Casey Hines. Salam Ayano. Jordan David Kazin. Colleen D. Kalinsky. Olivia Rose Mounts. Isabel Marcet. Liam McGeehan. Anna Metcalf. Maximo Miranda Macias. Paris Alexander Malice. Finnegan Nicola Gill. Maxwell Palmer. Toto Bellway. Aisha Lauren Pierre Louis. Rachel Pinstein. Yuling Chio. Pablo Raposo. Louisa Ray. Matthew Ringle. Maisha Russell. Felix Softy. Evan Mitchell Sands. Abigail McKenna Scott Scanlon. Meroni Jita Sesha. Evan Sylvia. Karini Takaki. Leilani Takaki. Jillian Tierney. Emma Louise Torres. Vua Za Fuang Uyen. Andrew James Webb. Cole Weiss Curry.
My cheeks hurt from all that smiling. That's awesome. I love that. As is tradition at commencement ceremonies throughout the country, I would like to now invite the graduates to turn the tassels from the right to the left to signify that you are indeed graduates of CHCH. debating whether to toss their caps or not. I love it. So to the class of 2024, as I've shared with those graduating classes before you, and I will certainly share with those following you, this is both your day of looking back on your time as students here, reflection, as well as looking ahead to what you want to do with the lessons learned along the way, projection. And as you reflect, I want to be clear, very crystal clear, that your teachers have witnessed your perseverance and your resiliency during the most challenging years of education that, frankly, any of us can ever remember. Your class fortitude and focus have been most admirable. You, class of 2024, have demonstrated some of the strongest resolve and character that I've witnessed in any graduating class over the past 18 years here at the school. For that, I and the CHH faculty and staff would like to profoundly thank you. I also hope that today is a day for expressing gratitude to those people who have made this moment possible for you. I would be remiss to not provide an important moment of pause and appreciation directed towards the heart and soul of the school, our talented faculty and staff, for their incredible, unwavering, and Herculean efforts these past years. Graduates, parents, please join me in a hearty round of applause for my colleagues. This is, without question, also a day to celebrate you and your achievements. We look forward to hearing of your great accomplishments in the years ahead as we continue the good work of preparing both returning and future chargers for a rapidly changing world. Speaking of change, Nick's valedictory address provides some wonderful collective reflections on your time and growth at the school. Certainly worth reiterating and absorbing a bit further as you move into new chapters in your lives. There's one story, however, that I'd like to address further as part of my closing remarks. 1 week ago yesterday, May 24th, 2024, at 0600 hours, the class of 2024 pulled off what I can only describe as a miracle of cosmic proportions. All members of the class, along with the truly dedicated crew of senior team faculty members, executed the best senior prank that I've ever experienced in my 30-plus years of independent school education. Let me set the scene. In my sleep, I hear this alarm going off. It's not my daughter's alarm. It's not my son's alarm. But it is my son's final week of school, and I'm thinking maybe he set a different type of alarm that would actually wake him up, because maybe he's going out for breakfast with his friends before school. Sometimes they did that. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep a little bit longer because I think my wife will probably be the one to get up and go check out what's going on before I. So I kind of waited her out. And she did. She got up and she walked down the hallway, and then I hear her footsteps coming back, and she's like, get out of bed. I'm like, well, what is it? She's like, no, get out of bed. There's something going on outside that you need to check out. And then I'm thinking maybe, because it's trash day, that alarm I'm hearing is a big dump truck backing up the street. Maybe it hit like a telephone pole or something. So suddenly I'm like, but very discombobulated. It's like I ripped my CPAP off, like I got the lines on my face. Like I'm stumbling out of bed, trying to put my Crocs on as I walk down the hall. Don't get my Crocs on. I do get the CPAP off. And I look out the window. What the heck? Now, the night before, the Celtics had a playoff game, a home game, and my son had a bunch of his friends over, and they were watching the game and then playing basketball in the driveway afterwards. It's like, well, maybe they all just decided to stop playing basketball and sleep in the front lawn on the edge of the driveway. So I actually thought it might have been my son and his friends. And then I look and I'm like, is that Liv Madams? I crank open the window. It was like this Rapunzel moment, but it's weird. And and the alarm is still going off. And it is so loud because the windows are closed in our house, but we could all hear it. And I'm like, the neighbors are gonna kill me. The neighbors are gonna be so irate. All I could think of was like the people around me. Like my kids are probably getting woken up too early. The neighbors are gonna be upset. So I quickly run downstairs and I run out the front door. And I'm like in my Christmas pajamas, a t-shirt, horrible breath. My hair is everywhere. I look like Mr. Heat Miser, you know that, right? And I still have, of course, the CPAP lines on my face. And I would go out to the driveway, and I'm like, oh, you guys absolutely rock. And kind of one of the first things I see, I'm like, even AJ made it. I was like, right? Like I said, like, yeah. That's love, AJ. Yeah, that was love. So I have to say that then my reaction was, you know what, you all deserve a day off. Little did I know that they already had a planned trip to Salisbury Beach for the day. We were taking a senior skip day anyways, whether I had approved it or not. But it really was this wonderful moment of odd affection that I have not experienced in my 20 years or now 30 years of doing this work in independent schools. And we came around back to like the fire pit patio, and we put on the little bistro lights, and Evan Sands had this big like boom box that was like cranking this high beat music that my neighbors, right? Josiah's like, oh, Dr. Conrad, we need more cream cheese, so I had to like go in and find more cream cheese. Like Abby Scalen's like, I need a volleyball for the beach. Can you find me a volleyball for the beach? I almost went to my neighbors to grab one out of their garage because I don't have one. Maximo was like, Dr. Conrad, we need a soccer ball for the beach. I'm like, I have one of those. I pump it up with there. I give it to him. By the way, Maximo, I'm still waiting for my soccer ball back. Yeah, I would like it back. Who knows if I'll ever want to use it again. So we all sat down. We had bagels and breakfast, and it was like this really great moment. And then suddenly, like at 6:45, the senior's like, all right, time for the beach. And it was over. This 45-minute moment in time that I will never, ever forget. And it was really special. And it's tough to describe like how it touched me, but it did. I always say like the senior prank is something you need to do as a senior class. It's something that's memorable, that you'll take with you forever. It can't be damaging, it can't be hurtful, it can't be unkind, it can't be something that someone else has to clean up for. The charm is that it was trash day, so as they left the house, the yard, everyone was just throwing everything into the trash cans at the end of the driveway. So pickup was done. It was clean and easy. As it turned out, my wife and Brooke Fink were in on all of this, and she had emailed all of my neighbors to let them know that this was going down. I've got photos like out of my neighbors' bedroom windows looking down, like. So it's like a little bit of like neighborhood exposure, but I have to say it really was an amazing, amazing moment. So now in reflection of this feat, Nick echoes Gabe's assertion from yesterday's baccalaureate ceremony that the class of 2024 is the #1 most spirited class ever. I really cannot put forth any evidence to the contrary, but please note that I've only been at CHCH for about 2 decades, not 2 centuries, even though it might look like it. As such, from my limited time perspective, I hereby declare with none of the power that's vested in me that the CHCH class of 2024 shall be hereby known as the #1 most spirited class ever. Graduates, in all seriousness, pay attention to your compass headings, both to the direction that leads you forward, as well as the direction of where you've been and those who've been part of your journey up to this point. As I noted during yesterday's baccalaureate ceremony, you have worked very, very hard, to arrive at today's highly anticipated destination. That, in fact, is really a launch pad to another amazing journey ahead. Know that we, faculty and staff, believe that you are worthy and valuable to our society as you commence your journey forward. Know that we have confidence in your competence. Know that we value your asymmetrical excellence and gifts in so many different directions. Your diplomas represent that belief and trust in your abilities. As a school, our vision will continue to be rooted in establishing Chapel Hill-Chauncy Hall as a distinguished institution for differentiated teaching and learning within a multiple intelligences framework. We will continue to understand and appreciate the many ways in which students learn, discovering multiple entry points to learning for our students each and every day. Our roles and responsibilities have been designed to push you to be alert and eager and empathic and intellectually capable student citizens. We believe you are ready to dig in and help solve many of these challenges facing society today. And believe me, there are many. In our humble opinion, you are all ready for greatness, no matter how you might define it. I conclude my remarks by reiterating Nick's closing. Keep creating, keep laughing, and keep sharing, because the best is yet to come. Indeed it is. Thank you, and best of luck to all the graduates in the class of 2024. So this will conclude the commencement exercises for the class of 2024. We would appreciate your patience as the administrators and guests on the dais will soon exit. The trustees and then our faculty and staff will follow and form a receiving line all along the quad pathway in the west side of this tent. The seniors will then recess after us in order to say goodbye and thank the faculty, staff, and trustees, as is our CHCH tradition. We invite families and friends to witness while capturing videos and photos as you desire. Guests will discover some post-ceremony nourishment at the far end of the quad near Harrington Hall. And we sincerely thank you for joining us. Enjoy the absolute beautiful weekend, and congratulations to the most spirited class of 2024.